I'd like to call the meeting to order. All board members are present. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have several people who'd like to speak at open forum this evening. Why don't you can come up and just sit at that front area and you can decide what order you want to talk in. Patrick Ryan, Tyler Kemp, Parker Johnson, and Cade Pavic. Maybe if we could do 5 to 7 minutes total. And they're here to talk about their basketball coach.
First of all, I'd like to say that Mr. Nichols had nothing to do with this. It is all driven by us because we would like to. Oh, yep. I'd like to say that.
You can sit and talk at the same time, if there's a chair there.
This is not Nichols' choice for us to come here, but this is our own decision. And we've trying to save Mr. Nichols' job because we feel like he's the best coach that has come through here in a very long time. Not just a coach, but as a teacher and of a person. And I've made a petition, and I have over 650 signatures, and I have a copy for every single one of you guys. So you guys can look at that. And then I also have some of the students from his Fitness for Life class, and he has I found a couple of the conclusions, and some of those talk about how much they enjoy Nichols and how they've never seen anything like it. And here one of you guys can talk while I pass these around.
I just feel like Nichols was the most kind and selfless coach I've ever had, and he pushed all of his players unlike anything I've ever seen from a coach. And I played football, basketball, and baseball, and he has by far been the biggest impact on me throughout my career.
I didn't really have him as a coach. I just had him as a teacher, and I just want to say that, I really liked Mr. Nichols. He was a nice guy. He made Phi Ed actually really fun. I mean, usually it was boring, but when Nichols was there, it made it really fun. He always had something for us to do, and he always pushed us in a good way, in a good direction.
Mr. Nichols is a big role model for all of us. I mean, he has changed all of our lives dramatically. A couple of my friends, we were all in kind of a tough spot sometimes, and he found a way to dig us back out. I mean, before this season, I was probably in one of the toughest situations in my life. I was admitted into Prairie Care, and that is a depression hospital. And I've really never told anybody about this, but I trusted Nichols the most. Before I went there, I had a conversation with him and just tell him I was sorry because I felt like it was my fault, but he made sure to tell me that he wants me to be okay, and he put me in front of himself and always making sure I'm okay. No matter, after I got out of there, the first thing he wanted to do was talk to me. He didn't talk basketball, he didn't talk anything. He just wanted to know how I was doing, and he wanted to make sure I was happy. He was always there for me. Every day there was a text, a quote, usually a Bible reading, and it just touched me every day. It wasn't just to me, it was to all basketball players. And he didn't have to know you to put a smile on your face. I mean, there's people at our school that have talked about how they say, like, man, that Nichols guy, he's something else. I don't even know him. I didn't even know he knew my name, but somehow he knows my name, and he greets me every day with a smile. And he's taught me so much more than anybody else has in my life.
Mr. Nichols, he also, if he didn't care about the kids or his job, he would, after he heard that he didn't get his contract renewed, he wouldn't have talked to anyone, but he still sends out text messages asking how everyone's doing from the basketball team. Like my friends say that he like tells them how like inspirational quotes and all this and how the family's doing, not just about basketball, but about their whole life in general. And he just tries to like keep them up and right.
One thing to add to Tyler Kemp's comments is some kids have said that that they trust Nichols more than some of the counselors to talk to if they're going through a hard time at home or anything they need to talk about. So he's always there for anybody that needs to talk to someone.
Any board members have any questions? Thank you for sharing and for making your voices heard. Guess we don't have the special presentation at this meeting. One change on the agenda, we don't need the closed session for negotiation update, so can remove that from the agenda. Get a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
On favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Board committee reports. Policy.
No meeting.
Southwest Metro?
We had our last meeting for the school year this month, and the meeting was just a typical meeting, but we also had the labor management meeting as well that coincides with the meeting for the board as well. And there are a number of things that were discussed at that part of the agenda, and that includes things like working on better control of accesses to the school, more safety types of issues that are on the table to be fixed up and to be worked on during the summer. Just a lot of general things that are going to be taking place during the summer in preparation for the new school year.
Thank you. Did CPAC meet?
No, we did not meet.
Community Ed, I see the outdoor pool is open.
The summer months got started this week. The main ones is morning baseball, morning softball, kids cooking camp, and driver's education classroom. There was a written grant for Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation, and we will receive 450 books to be used in early childhood. Memorial weekend, the outdoor pool opened, over 500 admissions through the weekend for the outdoor pool. Skyward severe weather spotting class was well attended by about 70 participants. Starting our fall brochure planning and Kids Company open house is tonight. There are 413 registered at Eagle View, Falcon Ridge, and CEC.
Thank you. Wellness,
No meeting.
early childhood.
We didn't meet, but Mary Bartuszek provided me with a update on the accomplishments for this year. The Buddy the Bookworm mobile library has had 1,300 books available from various grants to pass out to the kids pre-K to 5, and also they're at various businesses around the district. They've had 9 trainings for 75 daycare providers over the last couple of years. The Let's Play Saturdays was moved to the CEC gym this year, and there were 11 Saturdays and 462 children attended. There's a connection booklet that gives resources for young families available, and also a website, and the Rotary provided the the grant for the cost of the website. And then the newest project, we received a $20,000 grant from the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation for developing social and emotional readiness skills, and they put together 5 different activity bags, which cost $70 for the set, and these are given to teachers and daycare providers at no cost to them to work with kids on the readiness skills. And we will be meeting in the fall.
Madam Chairman, is there a button that has to be pushed? I can't hear anybody.
Yeah, Kathy's back there.
Is that any different?
Try it again.
Is that any different?
That's a little better.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
You have to yell at me.
Thank you. Sounds like a lot of work. It's been done since, I mean, it's only been a year, 2 years?
I think this
the
was
first grant?
Third.
Okay. Time flies. Superintendent reports.
Okay, first off, obviously, this past week, graduation, Friday night, despite the 1 hour delay, we had a beautiful night, just a very well done commencement. So just thank you to the high school staff for all they did to put that on. It was a wonderful evening. It gets better every year. So that was our 4th outdoor commencement. So we're on a three-year outdoor streak right now. So 3 of the 4 have been outdoors. So it's been good. The other thing, we've got staff development in service tomorrow for teachers. We've got about nearly 80 teachers signed up for staff development, and we'll do it again in August for one day too. So a lot of classes, a lot of them are licensure classes, so will be held over at the middle school tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that. And then obviously spring sports teams are in sections, baseball, softball tonight, track and field this weekend, and golf coming up too, so pretty busy time.
Is the baseball game rained out?
I'm not sure.
That's what they said on the radio.
Is it? Okay,
Tomorrow at 2.
tomorrow too.
Thanks for the update, Chuck. Action items, fitness center proposal.
I just want to spend a little bit of time going over this fitness center proposal. This is something I went over at the work session. I want to make sure we do it today at this meeting. And in regards to the Mayo Clinic Health Systems proposal to have the fitness center come over to here, so we have an aquatics and fitness center. As you can see, my slogan here is "Together We're Better." And the rationale for the partnership, obviously, is to increase our memberships. We need to bring in more memberships. There's a lot of people right now that maybe belong to the fitness center, but not to here, or vice versa. But I think many more there. It's just too expensive to be able to afford both memberships. Our projections for our revenue for memberships is down considerably from that the consultant projected for us, and I think that's a lot of the reason for that. We have space available at the CEC back beyond the gym. We have a couple of storage rooms and a big stage there, and we have leftover monies from our bond referendum to do this with. So it would include a 30 by 80 cardio exercise room, a weight room, 2 fitness studios that we have upstairs on community ed side, a gymnasium, and a walking trail. And obviously, too, one of the things that's been very popular with the Mayo Clinic Health Systems at the fitness center is the ability to have daycare there. And then, obviously, we already have daycare here, so that's something that is already in existence for us. And obviously, too, a community room. One of the big things with the fitness center that's very popular, they do have a so-called community room or a coffee room, but I know it's very popular, especially with seniors, and we could also use it as an exercise room for seniors, and also has a full kitchen. So we do have the space to be able to do that.
And obviously, we believe in multi-generational use. We said that, we sold the bond referendum from the very use, that would be from toddler to seniors. I think the one thing I've heard in the last couple of weeks, a misconception is that there'd be a mix between our students and people working out, and it's really separate workout areas. We have family rooms. At times, could there be dual use in the locker rooms? Yes, but that would only be a small part of the time.
Yeah, none of the exercise cardio room would be used by students during the school day. It
No,
would be strictly
no.
fitness center.
And we'd probably, there's a lot of details to work out, but, I mean, you'd have to be, 14, and we use the same age requirements the fitness center does use right now. And like I mentioned about bond referendum monies. Big thing is we want to keep what's going with the fitness center right now, the strengths, like I mentioned, the sense of community. And that's, feedback that I've received and assured people if this proposal was going to happen, we would keep some of the great things going on with the fitness center right now. With the fitness classes, they average about 32 fitness classes a week, so it's more of a full-service fitness center. We would do this similar thing. Senior programming, very popular, and we do that along with, I mentioned daycare earlier, and also being able to bring in fitness trainers, be able to work with people individually too is also a very popular thing at the fitness center. Some of the improvements and changes, for the better, obviously, is what we'd want to do is whatever they're charging at the fitness center right now, it would be the same. So they'd get dual membership and not an increase in fees at all. So the same membership fee. Just another thing on the fitness center, we'd probably still keep the basic aquatics fee. So if people just wanted aquatics, it would stay at that. And then our people that already have an aquatics membership, they could get the fitness too. And we'd grandfather and they'd stay at their current rate. And we'd have to take a look at raising it to what the fitness center currently is too. Community room, I mentioned earlier, we've got a beautiful community room that right now is underutilized, but it could be an exercise room for seniors along with a social area. Open gym usage during the summer, during the school year at various times. We do have adaptive athletics that would still be there. We have a pickleball league that we'd still keep in that place, but we'd open it up so kids could just come in and whether to shoot baskets or play volleyball or play catch, whatever that may be, to have more of an open gym usage as part of the membership. We're looking at doing throughout the building, calling it the walking trail, the Mayo Mile. And obviously, we are getting all the machines from the current Mayo Fitness Health System, but we'd also include some purchasing of some new machines. And also Mayo has talked about also doing some classes. It could be on diabetes, it could be on rehab, it could be on any type of cooking, diet classes, that type of thing. They're interested in doing that type of thing as part of the change. Membership transition will be a big thing. We've got Heather Teets. If this is approved, we'll be working here at least 20 hours per week as a Mayo employee until the first of the year. So we'd be able to have her for 6-7 months to help with marketing and communication. We'd have a transition team that she would work with, and whether it's Tony, Craig Most, Janelle Kirsch, just people around within our building, and also people from the city. And they'd bring in, they'd do focus groups too, bring in existing members and getting their feedback and input on how programming should run and stuff like that. I think that would be very important, along with giving tours of the building too. So with that transition team, they would be working out the details for memberships, hiring and staffing, the planning and design of the equipment and facilities, programming, which would be a very important thing, and like I said earlier, marketing and communication. And a proposed timeline, obviously I'd like to move ahead tonight with your approval, and then pending city council approval when they get, whether it's next Monday or in the future, if we can get going on construction, we're hoping to open the new fitness and aquatic center by early fall, I'll say. I'm not going to put I've learned my lesson on put deadlines on construction, but we're looking at early fall to get that done. Metcon has already agreed to do the work for us. So summer construction and opening early fall. So together we're better.
I do have one thing I want to make clear to people who are watching in the community is that this discussion probably wouldn't even be happening if Mayo was not, an exercise facility is not one of their core services that they provide anywhere else in Mayo land. So, you know, the reason this is able to work is because they need that building for other things and would someday be phasing that out anyways. So this is a win-win to keep an exercise facility available in New Prague.
Absolutely. Thanks for pointing that out, Kitten. Mary, if you want to come up, if there's any questions for me, or especially we got Mary here tonight, Mary Klimp from Mayo Clinic Health Systems. She's been, we've had numerous meetings over this. She was at the city council meeting, her and Heather Tietz, last Monday, and was able to answer questions for them too that came up, or just to clarify some things. So any questions we have here?
I just wanted to point out, because I know there was some concern about the senior population getting, and I know I understand it as an intergenerational facility, and my first thought when the concern came to us was that I know Community Ed will do a wonderful job, as they have, in directing, and they have senior outings and that, and I think that would just correspond, and they can integrate with that, and that was my first thought, and I just wanted to address that with you as well, Mary.
I can speak to that a little bit. We're very limited in space for our senior programs. The seniors often arrive an hour or 90 minutes ahead of class to ensure that they can get a space. We only have so much room, and your community room here is much larger. So we anticipate we will see a growth in the number of seniors participating. In addition, as Tim mentioned, a couple of years ago, we renovated a small area and put a coffee pot there. And from about 7:30 in the morning to about 10:30, it's standing room only. There's just a need for that socialization. And I happened to have today off and be there this morning, and they were coming in with their goodies and snacks and treats for others. And so it's a very social environment that I think will have the ability to really expand here, where the fitness center is very limited by the four walls and no opportunity to grow that space. And as Mr. Dittberner mentioned, it's not our core mission. Emergency services, surgeries, inpatient, our post-acute, those are all our core services that we want to make sure we maintain. And although there wasn't a direct plan to terminate the fitness center as we needed the space, it was logical that at some point that space would be used for pediatric therapy.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Maybe I can speak too for the older people. I think they hit that certain comfort level, and I think once they see this new place, they'll feel more comfortable as we get them in there to tour it. And I think that's what it's about, just break that barrier, and once they see it, they'll like it.
Even just giving the reassurance that they're very welcomed here. That's one of the questions I'm asked frequently as this has been in the media, whether there will be programming for seniors and whether their insurance will cover similar and silver sneakers, silver and fit. And as soon as that reassurance is given, there's no pushback, there's no negativity in the conversation. It's just wanting to make sure that they're still going to have a place.
Yeah, we hope to have the same classes and the same instructors at just a different location, so.
And more space.
Yeah.
Anything else I can answer? Well, don't hesitate to contact me if there's questions later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. There was a good article in the Star Tribune today on front page of the sports section on school districts being sort of the hub for fitness activities and athletics from all levels, and sort of becoming the hub. And, you know, we got to continue to look at our facilities as community assets. And, you know, I think, you know, the CEC especially, I know in all my presentations, we sold it, you know, not knowing we'd go into the fitness, but just on the aquatic side or what we have here for early childhood, that it was going to be multi-generational, this facility, or the community room itself, you know, with senior activities. So just, you know, it's just gotten a little more comprehensive than I anticipated, obviously. But I think for the, like Kit and you said earlier, make it a win-win scenario for us in the city and obviously Mayo.
Yeah, our joint powers has been meeting once a month probably for the last 6 months, going over this and trying to come up with different ideas. And I really think this is a good way to go to improve the bottom line for the whole situation.
You have the motion to read, right?
Sure. Ready?
Any other questions?
I make comments?
Yes?
No, we haven't proposed the motion yet, but this was a great presentation, but as I told Mr. Ditberger, I did not hear the word students, education, or learning in any of this presentation. And we are school board, and students first and all those things are not supposed to be rhetoric. And instead of school board, it appears that we're going to be a construction company or something. We're using money voted for kids in mind. We have excess construction money from our work before, and all that money was designated for kids. And now we're turning around and donating or loaning it out to Mayo or whoever to build, and kids are not even in mind at all here. And it presents a very uneasy factor. I've been called by some people in town, and they don't think it's right for money designated for kids to be transferred over. So I'm going to vote no on this.
Don, I do have one comment on that. The whole aquatic center was done with education in mind, and then we partnered with the city. I think as we've gone through this, we find that to keep that viable, where there's definitely education classes taught, we need to figure out a way to bring in more revenue. And the revenue part, correct, is not for educational. You know, the building modifications are not for strictly educational, but it's helping to support the educational facility of the swimming pool.
And the priority will still be the kids in Phi Ed and the swimming team. So the kids are still the top priority, I believe, with this. And nothing is going to change there with the students.
There won't be any kids in that room.
The conference room or the...
They've got workout rooms in the senior high and supposedly the junior high.
Or the fitness, so you won't...
It's not going to be used by kids.
Well, there actually are students from our district that are members at the fitness center that do use that facility in the afternoon and evening.
Maybe I can address a couple of issues. First off, I want to be very clear. No money is being paid to Mayo Clinic Health System. Absolutely none. The equipment that will come over here is being donated. And so those monies are being used to benefit the community center, not Mayo Clinic Health System. We've also had a very good relationship with many of the sports teams. Those students have joined the fitness center and been part of our classes and our cardio and strength training, and that's been going on for many years. And so I think one of the areas we've not been able to capture at the fitness center is we do not have the opportunity to have students under the age of 14 where the whole benefit of classes and some of the Fit Kids things that we've done in the past that we could partner to do here would continue to benefit students. But first and foremost, I want to make sure that it's understood Mayo Clinic Health System is not asking for any reimbursement for the equipment or any of the training programs that we have.
I think it'll benefit students if their parents and grandparents are more physically fit.
And there's several families that I've heard that don't necessarily have fitness center memberships because they have children under the age of 14 that will sign up for the community center the day it's possible because they can work out while their kids are in the pool or taking swimming lessons where they haven't had that opportunity before.
All that is well and true, but I have to represent the conservative element that will probably never use this, and they want their money that they voted in to be used solely on kids. And they have to have a voice, so I would know vote will be for the conservative. There are a lot of stakeholders that are very conservative.
Tim, can you address the amount of dollars that would be going from the school district to do this? Or Sandy, one or the other?
It's $110,000. Be $110,000. I proposed to Mike Johnson today is $110,000 from us and $90,000 from the city for
And
the construction.
how big was that rebate we got for the utilities?
Utilities
For the
is
building
about
project?
$240,000, yep.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Okay. I move that we approve the proposal from Mayo Clinic Health Systems and begin construction on fitness space at the Central Education Campus, pending corresponding approval from the New Prague City Council. This would include acquiring equipment from Mayo Clinic Health Systems at no cost and merging its membership with the Aquatic Center to create a comprehensive, multi-generational community fitness center that will be overseen by the current joint powers agreement between the school district and the city.
That a motion?
That's a motion, yes.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
1.
6-1, sorry. I got the first number right.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sandy with the budget.
Good evening. Tonight I'm going to be presenting the first reading of the 18-19 preliminary budget. The second reading will be the end of June for final approval. First of all, let's look at the fiscal year 17-18 projected results. We did pass a revised budget in December, and that is in the middle column. We had a total unassigned fund balance projected of just under $7 million, which was 17.2%. Right now, I'm thinking we're going to exceed that, which we typically do. I try to be very conservative in my revenue and expenditure budgets, and we'll end up at 19.5% for unassigned fund balance. Our revenue is coming in about at budget, and our expenses are coming in about 1.8% under budget. For the 18-19 preliminary budget overview, right now I'm thinking our unassigned fund balance at the end of 18-19 would be about $6 million or 14.3%. If we recall, our fund balance goal is 8 to 12%, or 8%, excuse me. First of all, the revenue assumptions, we're assuming 296 kindergarten students. We're currently at 293. We were up to 297, and we had some holds come through. The parents decided to hold and not send their children till the next year. but we still have a lot of time. We're hoping to get that 296 number. Per the enrollment projections that I presented to you in November, we would anticipate 47 new students, or a 1.1% increase in enrollment overall. I assume the 2% on the formula, 2% increase in special ed aid, and I think that is conservative. With the new formula, the legislature approved a while back, there is a larger increase in our, what they call ceiling for next year, and depending upon where we come in, I think we could even see a 4% increase in special ed aid, but I'm not going to be projecting that right now, because I do like to be conservative. And the other revenue, I'm assuming pretty flat revenue. The staffing changes as I presented in April, elementary, based on what we have today, we'd be decreasing 3.0 FTEs, 1 at Raven and 2 at Eagle. These may change as enrollments come in over the summer. We are looking, watching a couple of grades. 5th grade at Eagle View, 2nd grade at Raven Stream are the two right now that are kind of, are the ones that most likely could be adding a section. And we monitor that over the summer to see if we need to add any new positions there. Middle school, we're increasing 2.0 FTE core teachers in social studies and science. We are eliminating 2 education paraprofessionals to offset one of the increased FTEs, and we're working with those pairs right now to find them other positions in the district. And we will probably end up laying off 1 special education pair that will get bumped due to the master agreement that calls for bumping. At high school, we're going to have a net increase of 1.0 FTE due to higher enrollment for next year. And we will hold on CLC staffing with the possibility of adding a section for second semester. Typically, in January, we do get a few more students there. And so we're going to have a staff member that could potentially grow an FTE to help that situation if it does occur. Special education, we'll be looking at additional 1.5 FTE teachers. We may partially offset this by a reduction to be presented at the June workshop. I'm working with Amy right now on a couple of possible changes, and I'll be finalizing those with her and be presenting those in June. Gifted and talented, adding a 0.2 talent and development coach facilitator to utilize some of our GT reserve revenue. Just some overall comments. I always put in a district contingency in case something happens that we can't foresee. Right now, we need no further severance commitments, and that's really good news because that has, taken quite a bit of money to get those teachers retired at the end of last year. We do still have a few groups that have some grandfathered severance payments, but right now we have enough reserved to be able to handle those. We have 4 special ed vans we need to buy this year. They will be paid for with federal or medical assistance funds or third-party revenue funds. We have a general fund chargeback for the aquatic center usage for sports and Phi-Ed. We have a 7% increase in health insurance for non-certified groups. That was the percentage increase this year that we received. And overall health insurance is increasing about 5% because not everybody has full single paid for. So, but we did get a 7% increase in health rates. We have TIES fees built in. We'll be talking about that in another agenda item, but I do have money built in to pay for some long-term debt that we'll probably be paying in July or August. We do have additional fees for our Skyward system, our HR payroll finance system, to become a hosted solution for security purposes. That's really important these days with all the cyber attacks that school districts are experiencing. It happens more often than you would know that it's in the papers. I hear from my colleagues. And so that is about an additional $10,000 to be able to have them host it. So they are responsible for the security, and we will no longer have to utilize our servers for that. And it just takes a huge burden off of our IT department and our firewall to prevent hacking. And then, of course, we have the boys and girls lacrosse edition that the board approved in April, I believe, or could have been March or April. We do still have budget adjustments needed to pay for the Dean of Students and Equity Specialist, and I'll be presenting those at the June workshop. We are still working on finalizing those, and I will be presenting that on June 11th. The capital plan is attached in board docs. We have special projects totaling about $46,500. We are going to use some of our Fund 6 stadium funds. We had when we built the stadium, we have about $30,000 left. We were kind of saving because we weren't sure if we needed to, there was some problems. The contractor went out of business, and we didn't know if we'd have to pay on a performance bond, pay some things, but we ended up not having to pay anything more for that. And so it's been suggested that it would be good to spend $15,000 of those dollars to irrigate the grassy areas around the turf. And that will be a very good use of those funds. Those funds have to be spent on the stadium. They cannot be spent on anything else. We also have our regular annual allocations of about $744,000. We have technology as well as some non-technology, including 2 buses. One change this year, we're only replacing 2 buses as opposed to 3. Last year, we actually bought 1 bus out of the general fund, and this year we don't have to do that. That's very, very much of a positive. Long-term facilities maintenance, this is a long list, but I think, you can look that list over. Basically, I will be bringing a new 10-year plan approved, that has to be approved by June 30th. The forms aren't available yet on the MDE website, so I couldn't bring it tonight for approval. So I'll be bringing that on June 25th. Is that the date of the June board meeting for you to approve that? So here's just a graph of the last 10 years or so. You see our general fund, assigned and unassigned, peaked. The orange is the total general fund and the blue is the unassigned. Peaked in fiscal year 15-16. It decreased slightly in 16-17, slightly again in 17-18, and more in 18-19. These are our reserved and committed accounts. You'll see we'll not have a staff development reserve at the end of this year or at the end of next year. We are spending all of our staff development funds as a district. LTFM will have a huge gain next year. Operating capital will spend those down just a little bit. Gifted and talented will spend that down a little bit. Safe schools should increase slightly. And severance, again, we have that $284,000 right now committed based on potentially spending $75,000 in 18-19. That would decrease to a little over $200,000. Other funds, Fund 2, 4, 6, and 7 will be presented in June, as we have done in the past. And next steps, on June 25th, we'll have the preliminary budget approval. It will include all funds. It will also include some of those budget adjustments that I'll be presenting on April 11th. September, we'll have updated enrollment. Obviously, if our enrollment increases by more than 1%, that will improve our financial picture quite a bit. So we're hoping for very good enrollment this fall.
As long as they're in the correct grades.
As long as they're in the correct grades, right, right. October, we'll have the audit results, and December, we'll have the final budget, and then January, we'll have the updated 5-year projections to get ready for budgeting for 19-20 already. Yeah. It seems impossible to be in 2020, but yeah. The levy you approve in September will be for 19-20, yeah. So any questions on this first reading of the 18-19 preliminary budget?
Don't take it personally.
That
So,
A lot in
yeah,
there.
no need to take action tonight or anything.
Right.
You'll take action on June 25th.
Are you doing the missed renewal?
Yes, so the missed renewal, I presented it at the workshop, and right now just asking for approval to renew that. The premium is going down 4.7%. Between the loss fund and the premium, our 17-18 expiring costs are $144,524. The renewal costs will be $137. 734, savings of 4.7%. So that's a very positive. We're in the MIST program. This is already the 6th year of that.
Very
And
successful.
Very successful program. We've had flat to decreasing rates, as well as enhanced coverages. Things like cyber insurance, pollution, enhanced coverage for large type events.
Maybe Sandy, you could just give a little explanation of what MIST is for
Sure.
the public.
Yeah, MIST is a self-funded, partially self-funded liability and property insurance. And there were originally 7 districts in this pool, and New Prague was one of them. We took the leap. And basically, we self-insure the small losses up to $100,000 in a loss fund pool. And then we insure, we have a couple of layers on top of that. We have Brit and, it just went out of my head. Anyway, we have insurance over that. So you self-insure for the small losses. Large losses are covered by insurance, and it has been very successful. The pool has grown to 23 districts over that period of time. We hope to add a couple more this coming year, and it's been a very successful program.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve the renewal?
I'll make a motion to renew the MIST program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. District population certification.
Right, once a year, we are required to certify our district population. In the, obviously, years that there's not a census taken, we need to make certain assumptions and certify this for Minnesota Department of Education, mainly for community education funding. So in 2017, our population was 19,492. This year, we're proposing our population be 19,804. We had 124 building permits last year, and we assumed 2.25 bodies or people per household, which would add that to our population. So just asking you to certify it at 19,804.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to certify our population at 19,804.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Homecoming and snowball activity accounts.
Yes, so this is a situation where we have, out of this here, we have some activity accounts for snowball and homecoming. They have been an activity account since I started here. However, I think it's time to move them to the general fund, under board control into the general fund. The rule for activity accounts is the money that's raised has to be spent on the students that raised it. And our homecoming and snowball expenses are more than what, or less than what the revenue we bring in, although the general fund does have to put some money into these activities. For instance, activity accounts can't pay for DJ services or chaperones, those kinds of things, because you can't make labor payments from activity accounts. So the general fund has been subsidizing this event, and we've got a fund balance built up right now in our activity account and having a difficult time spending it, to be honest with you, on the students that raise the money. So I called MDE and called our auditor and said it's fine if we bring those back under board control. We could transfer that money back into the general fund, track it, and spend it on items needed at the high school. There's an immediate need for some updated furniture in our media center, and this money can be used to pay for that if we bring it back under board control. And it really doesn't fit the definition of an activity account. And most districts have them as activity accounts, but many also have them as general fund accounts.
This was under board control before, and then it was put over?
No.
It was always?
It used to be,
individual. Okay.
yeah, it's always been an activity account.
Makes sense.
Motion? For a motion?
You want a motion to move it?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I make a motion, we move the homecoming and snowball activity accounts under board control.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Ties membership. When are we going to be done talking about this?
Oh,
Sorry, editorial comment.
one of the last times, let me tell
Tim,
you.
did you want to speak to this, or would you like me to?
Go ahead. I talked about the last meeting. You want to talk about the withdrawal?
Okay, yeah. So we had given them notice last year that we intended to leave membership at the end of this year. And tonight, we are recommending that you change that resolution and no longer withdraw from ties due to some new information that we have received in some events that have taken place. For ties to be acquired by the National Joint Powers Alliance, the new name is Sourcewell. So if we would leave membership on June 30th, we would have to pay approximately $185,000 to leave membership. That would be our share of the long-term debt that they have. In addition, we would have to pay about $13,000 because the building, right now, we have to maintain the building. Even though they no longer need it, we have to maintain it until it would be sold, and we would have to pay that approximately $13,000. And then we would get a little bit of money back when it's sold, but we'd have to pay that up front. So if we rescind our withdrawal notice, then we anticipate right now that in July, we would owe approximately $84,000, which is about $100,000 savings to our district. If the acquisition by Sourcewell goes through. Right now, there's no reason to think that it will not go through. They gave a very good presentation at a meeting in April, March or April, and I think they've thought it through. They're going to basically do a capital infusion into ties assets and ties programs and continue those programs, and hope to turn that business around and still offer these services to Minnesota school districts. We would still have to pay the approximately $13,000 to maintain the building until it's sold, and then we would get the, some money back when they sell the facility. We've checked with some other districts that there were 12 districts that gave notice to leave at the end of this year, and I know Monticello, Big Lake, Jordan, us, I don't know, I didn't check with anybody else, but they're rescinding their notice, betting that Sourcewell acquisition is going to go through and it will save their district a lot of money. If any district does continue with the withdrawal, that would lower the amount we would have to pay. The $84,000 would be less than that.
There are rumors there are a couple districts that will.
And we will know in 30 days, is that what I understand? The acquisition should be complete
In July.
in July, okay,
The middle of July is what they're shooting for.
okay.
So what is it going to cost to withdraw next year then?
You don't have to, because the membership, there's no more membership fee, and there's no membership withdrawal. So this is basically it's paying for the share of debt that is in excess of the capital infusion or the money infusion that Sourcewell is making into ties.
Since this is an item that requires a resolution, at this time, I will entertain.
No, that's a separate, I just need a motion, the resolution is a separate item, Denny. I'll explain that next.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
I'll make a motion to authorize the change.
I'll second.
Second. Sorry.
Sorry.
Next time. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0.
So the actual resolution is the next agenda item, and it is a resolution that will give Tim the authority to sign documents and make decisions on behalf of the school district during the Sourcewell acquisition of ties assets and programs. It's very limited authority that Tim would have, but he would have the ability to sign for the district when the acquisition goes through. So just ask that you approve this resolution giving him that authority.
Okay, since this requires a resolution, I'll entertain a motion to consider the resolution authorizing execution of legal documents dealing with the ties dissolution.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. The school board hereby authorizes the district superintendent or another district representative with authority to legally bind the district to execute legal documents with their discretion on behalf of the district in its capacity as a member of ties necessary to consummate the closing of the transaction and complete ties dissolution, subject to and within the scope of each of the following conditions. The district shall not be obligated to pay an amount in excess of $20 per student to cover the proportion share of ties' current liabilities. Second, the district shall not be obligated to pay an amount in excess of $3 per student to cover its proportionate share of the cost to maintain and operate the ties building. Third, the district shall retain all legal rights to the ties building in its proportionate share as a ties member according to the ties bylaws, and no such rights shall be assigned to the New Prague Area School District. And four, the district shall retain all legal rights to receive a proportionate share of any proceeds from the sale of the ties building for an amount in excess of the debt owed to the U.S. Bank according to the ties bylaws. And the New Prague area schools shall have no rights in any such proceeds. How do you vote on this?
Just a
Don?
clarification.
Yeah.
It's the NJPA,
Oh.
the National Joint Powers.
I'm sorry, North National Joint Powers Association. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Yes.
Yes. Oops. Yes.
Kim?
Oh.
Sherry?
Oh,
Yes?
Yes, sorry.
That's okay, you can jump right in whenever you're ready. Kim?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Dennis, yes. Item passes. 7-0.
We have a resolution for termination and non-renewal.
And before we, sorry. Before we
go
get
ahead.
into it, I just want to comment about the students coming forward and showing their passion with the teachers and the coach in this case, about how much they appreciated having them around and stuff like that. We often don't hear comments like that. So I guess no matter how this turns out, I think it was really nice to see them come forward tonight.
And if I can further address the board and ask, in light of the open forum information that the student-led information that they gave us, if we can put the Blake Nichols resolution on hold. I mean, after, I know they had 655 signatures when in effect, some of this could be a letter of recommendation, I don't know, but I just feel that the students should have a voice, maybe, I'm feeling, and I'm advocating for the students, and I'm asking that we put it on hold, the resolution for Blake Nichols.
You make that as a motion?
Is that how I have to do it?
I
Yeah.
think Sandy knows the specifics. I think it has to be a motion to
To table it or to?
table it.
Table it, yes.
Yes, so, I mean, if we can't discuss any performance issues or private personnel data at a board meeting, so you could ask to remove that from the agenda
Okay.
and just move forward with the one. That you certainly could do that.
Do we have to make a motion and vote on it? Or do we?
Remove it from the agenda. It
I
requires-
think per that email you sent the other day, you'd have to make a motion and then have it approved by,
5 votes, 2/3,
Right,
wasn't it?
2/3,
That's
right.
what
I
it
had to,
says.
yeah, I didn't bring that email with me, so
I think that's what
Yeah,
it was.
that's right, that's
Right.
right.
yes.
So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to, in essence, put the Blake Nichols resolution on hold for termination. And, I need a second, okay.
Any further discussion? Yeah, I heard that. all in favor of tabling the discussion till a later meeting?
Aye. Or
Might want to call a roll vote if you're not
Yeah,
sure.
you want to do it
You
that
a
way?
roll vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just go, whether we want to table it or not.
Yes.
No.
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 No. So the motion fails.
Okay, thank you.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to consider the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of John Pauley, a probationary teacher.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. Whereas John Pauley is a probationary teacher in Independent School District 721, be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District Number 721 that pursuant to Minnesota statutes, that the teaching contract of John Pauley, a probationary teacher in the Independent School District 721, is hereby terminated at the close of the current 2017-2018 school year. Be it further resolved that a written notice be sent to said teacher regarding termination and non-renewal of the contract as provided by law. How do you vote on this, Jerry?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Don? Dennis? Item passes 7-0. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to consider the resolution to, relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Blake Nichols, a probationary teacher.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. Whereas Blake Nichols is a probationary teacher in Independent School District 721, be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 721 that pursuant to Minnesota statutes, that the teaching contract of Blake Nichols, a probationary teacher in Independent School District 721, is hereby terminated at the close of the current 2017-2018 school year. Be it further resolved that written notice be sent to said teacher regarding termination and non-renewal of the contract as provided by law. How do you vote on this, Don?
Yes.
Sherry?
No.
Kim?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Dennis, yes. Item passes 6-1.
Moving on to the handbooks. First one is the middle school handbook, just a few changes. Well, actually, there was a few additions to this one if you look at the red items in the handbook. Apparently no more hats, hoodies, or bandanas.
Nothing big in there, was there?
No.
I make a motion, we approve the middle school handbook for 2018-2019.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. High school coaches advisors handbook.
I make a motion, we approve the 2018-19 high school coaches and advisors handbook.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
I make,
Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the 2018-19 high school activities handbook.
It's because it's hot in here.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
I make a motion, we approve the 2018-19 Compass Learning Center handbook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. We have several memorandums of understanding, which they're under the executive content. If you review anything?
There's a couple that we're just cleaning up. We passed the majority of them in April, but we had a few that we were still working on, as well as the new, for the new Director of Nutrition Services, Kim Herron, who has replaced Kim Fronta as our Director of Nutritional Services.
approve each one, right?
I think we can do them all in one memorandum.
Yeah, I would like to approve the paraprofessional speech path and building nurse one separate. That's a master agreement. That's
Right.
not an MOU.
The MOUs would be 1013, 1014, 1015, and 1016.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve 1013, 1014, 1015, and 1016 as memorandums of understanding for 2017 through 19.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Of the
I'll make a
master
motion
agreement.
to approve the master agreement with the certified pathology assistants, building nurses, and paraprofessionals for 2017, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. The MSHSL resolution that we read every year, I
But
think.
yes, I do, yes, I do. It's good to know. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to consider the resolution for membership in the Minnesota State High School League.
I make the motion.
It's been moved and second. Is there a second?
Long meeting
Oh,
already.
yeah, twice.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. Be it resolved that the governing board of District 721, State of Minnesota, delegates the contract supervision and regulation of interscholastic athletic and fine arts events, certifies that the State Commission of Education as provided by Minnesota statutes. Further be it resolved that the high schools listed below, New Prague High School, is hereby authorized by this governing board of said district to renew its membership in the Minnesota State High School League. And be it further resolved that the governing board hereby adopts the Constitution, bylaws, rules, and regulations of said league and all amendments thereto as the same are published in the latest edition of the league's official handbook. How do you vote on this, Don?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Dennis, yes. Item passes 7-0.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0.